Hello everyone, and welcome back to our channel. Today we dive into one of the most intriguing developments on the South African political front. A new political party is brewing, and it is not just another ordinary splinter group with a fancy name. We are talking about the Afrika Mayibuye Party, a movement that could soon become a reality and potentially shake up the entire political landscape of South Africa. Now, if you are wondering what Afrika Mayibuye means, let me break it down for you. The literal translation is, "Let Africa come back." Already, the name itself feels like it belongs on a protest poster from the liberation struggle era. It is a phrase soaked in symbolism, history, and the hopes of people who want to see dignity and justice restored. It is the type of name that immediately makes you sit up and wonder if we are looking at the beginning of what some are calling a second liberation movement. The timing of this party's formation is interesting. Across the country, many South Africans are deeply frustrated with the current political class. The ruling African National Congress, once seen as the embodiment of hope and democracy, has been battered by corruption scandals, factional battles, service delivery failures, and record-high unemployment. The opposition parties, from the Democratic Alliance to the EFF and the MK Party, are also facing their own internal issues and criticisms. Against this backdrop, the Afrika Mayibuye Party seems to be presenting itself as a fresh alternative, something that says, "We hear you, the ordinary South African who feels forgotten." So what exactly is this new party promising? According to early reports, the Afrika Mayibuye Party wants to make economic justice its central theme. That means a strong focus on jobs, land, and opportunities, especially for the youth. The movement also wants to hammer down on corruption, an easy applause line, but let's be honest, it is something voters desperately want to hear after years of mismanagement and looting of state resources. But here is where it gets more intriguing. The people involved in shaping this movement are not just career politicians. Meetings have reportedly been held with academics, former labor union leaders, community activists, and even some individuals who once belonged to the big political formations but grew disillusioned. This signals that the Afrika Mayibuye Party is trying to blend intellectual leadership with grassroots mobilization. Think of it as bringing together the university lecture hall with the township street corner. Social media, as always, is playing its part. Facebook, Twitter, and TikTok are already buzzing with conversations about the party. In fact, if you scroll through some of these threads, you will see a lot of excitement from people in rural villages and township communities who feel that this could be the vehicle to restore dignity and opportunity. Some even call it a rebirth of the liberation dream, only this time the enemy is not apartheid, but inequality, unemployment, and corruption. Of course, this is South African politics we are talking about. For every voice of hope, there are two voices of caution. Skeptics argue that starting a new party is the easy part. We have seen this movie before: COPE, the UDM, a gang, and now even the MK Party. Many of these movements entered the stage with fireworks and promises, but later collapsed under the weight of internal squabbles, weak organizational structures, or simply a lack of money to sustain campaigns. Will Afrika Mayibuye fall into the same trap, or will it prove to be the rare exception? That is the million-dollar question. Let's also not forget the highly competitive environment it is stepping into. South Africa's political scene is crowded. The ANC, though weakened, still holds a strong presence in many provinces. The EFF is popular among the youth. The DA is well organized in urban centers. The MK Party has disrupted KwaZulu-Natal politics. So for Afrika Mayibuye to make a real mark, it will need not just passionate speeches but also strong leadership, fundraising ability, and a clear identity that distinguishes it from the others. Now, here is where things get a little more colorful. Some insiders suggest that the party's strategists want to brand it as a direct people's movement rather than an elite-driven party. That means plenty of rallies in dusty stadiums, plenty of marching songs, and plenty of references to liberation history. Think less air-conditioned conference halls and more township community halls filled with plastic chairs. This could actually work in their favor because South African politics has always thrived on emotional connection with the people. But let's also be realistic. A name as powerful as Afrika Mayibuye will create sky-high expectations. If the leadership fails to deliver or gets swallowed up in factionalism, the public backlash will be fierce. People will not forgive another party that promises change but ends up recycling the same old politics. What makes this story even more fascinating is how ordinary people are already attaching their own meaning to the movement. For some, it is about land reform. For others, it is about jobs for young people. For older citizens, it is about seeing the country restored to the dreams of 1994. In other words, the party has quickly become a blank canvas onto which people project their deepest frustrations and hopes. That can be powerful, but it is also dangerous if the leadership cannot meet those expectations. So what can we expect next? The countdown to the official launch is on. Once the leadership structure is revealed, we will have a better sense of whether this is a serious player or just another flash in the pan. Will it actually bring Africa back in the hearts and minds of its supporters, or will it join the long list of parties that made noise but faded away? One thing is certain, South African politics is never boring. Just when you think the field is too crowded, another player enters and stirs the pot. The Afrika Mayibuye Party might not yet have the money or the structures of the ANC, the fiery rhetoric of the EFF, or the organization of the DA, but it does have something very important, the timing. And in politics, timing can be everything. So, what do you think? Will Afrika Mayibuye become the next big force in South Africa, or is this just another short-lived experiment in our crowded political marketplace? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe to our channel, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss our deep dives into South Africa's ever-changing political landscape. Thanks for watching, and as always, see you next time.